peeps. Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard John, Absentee Kiki, who is still sulking because I wouldn't give her another chew this morning. And yeah, we're here. Sorry for the late. I had 2 shots yesterday, and one of them was the flu shot, and one was a tetanus shot. And between them, like, last night was just, so I was a very slow moving Anne this morning. So sorry for the late start. Lady Nim, thank you for, oh, you're almost to your double sub-anniversary. I almost have to sing. Whoa, congrats, and thank you for the 23 months. Yeah. Like, you know, I remember, like, getting the COVID shot and having kind of this reaction is, like, you know, you spend half the night with a fever, and you're just, like, so I was up and down 60 zillion times, and, yeah, did not sleep great, so I'm a little slow, and David got up late this morning as well, so then I had my own lethargy to fight on top of David late. Alright, fair. So yeah, sorry for the late, guys, I'll make it up. Although lately we've been starting actually pretty decently, and, going a bit over anyway, so I'm gonna just say I've got it in the bank. I'm gonna totally say that. All right, woof. But yeah, so plus on top of that, my neck is all. I did too much reading on my phone. You know how you do that. And then with me, I know instantly when I've gone too far because I start getting a headache. And when I feel back here, the 2 muscles that are connecting, like up the back of my neck to the back of my skull, are just tight. And so essentially it's constricting blood flow and giving me a headache. And that's how I know my neck is out of whack. So I'm being very careful today to try to keep proper posture because I had to do like 2 sets of exercises before bed and I still had to take a muscle relaxer. So it was just like, yeah, crazy. And it's probably still all like vestiges of the road trip, right? Where I crammed myself in a car for too many days in a row. Plus a con, right? So it's like all this crap, this Fallout crap. I feel like I'm almost back to normal Anne mode, but it's like I'm wobbling on either side of normal Anne mode right now. However, I am almost done with like the whole allergy thing. I closed my window early today, so hopefully we won't have a lot of like coughing and sneezing. Quindy, take your pill. It's been awful here for allergies this last week. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's just like you never expect the shots to hit you as hard as they do. I mean, they're supposed to hit your immune system. They're supposed to do stuff. But yeah, so I couldn't remember when my last tetanus was, so we just decided to do it. So, and I have to do CrossFit tonight. I'm going to be taking a power nap this afternoon. Awesome, Twistodoma. Awesome. Yes, rain. I'm kind of waiting. I'm hoping for a rainy winter here. Even though it means muddy Kiki. Yes. Thank you, Graniko. Suboptimal and still awesome. Woo! Just like not quite as awesome. Yeah, Graniko has the overabundance of rain. Yeah, I'm so late today that I didn't even finish my tea. So I'm teaing today. I'm teaing. So I have to slug it so that the caffeination can help compensate for the lack of sleep. So no coffee Crowley, but tea for sure. Yay. Yeah, I just feel like, ugh. I feel like it's just scrambling to catch up. You know, you come back from a really long trip and you're like, where was my life? I just don't even remember. Plus, I'm just fighting because I have to spend time on the Patreon. I have to catch up to it. But the part of me that wants to write and get going on book 3 is like really strong. And it's really hitting me with like a weird stress reaction about not working on book 3. So I'm going to throw it a bone today. Throw it a bone because I put up a Patreon thing yesterday. I'm like, all right, we can take a day and work on book 3, self. Little writer self, just calm down. Do you ever just want to look at yourself in the mirror and go, just calm down? I'm feeling like that. Do you feel? Is it all the feels? Like, I feel like some of you totally understand what I'm talking about. Hey, Kodiak. But yeah, that moment when you just want to look at yourself in the mirror and go, yeah. I knew you'd get me, Whitney. I knew you would. Oh, Lord. Too much crap in the air. All right. Where were we? We were doing some gold. And the gold was looking pretty sharp. She's actually looking pretty sharp, all things considered. I'm actually glad, even though we've done a lot of redheads recently, I'm really glad we went with a redhead on this one. And I feel like, yeah, focus is my superpower. I mean, I had to prioritize. That's the problem in RL. Like, you say it every day, focus and prioritize. Yeah. The problem is that my heart wants to be prioritizing a different thing than my head is ordering me to prioritize. So I've got that internal conflict stress thing going on. Plus, I get mopey when I'm not writing. Like, I've learned this years ago, and I always forget it, but I'm very cognizant of it now because I'm doing so much more writing than I used to. But yeah, when I'm not making progress on the story, I feel mopey. Like, my brain starts doing all these weird, crazy things, running in circles, looking for other things to make. You know, it's just kind of nuts. I guess I have a creator brain when it comes down to it. It just wants to make things, and if it isn't making things, then it runs around looking for different things. But yeah, Morning Slayer. Yeah, we're talking about how we just want to look at our brains sometime in the mirror and go, calm down. You know, that kind of thing. Because I'm there. I'm totally there. Oh, I finished my cowl. I washed it in wool wash and I pegged it out, Kerniko. So yeah, it'll be ready for winter. I'm very happy. Because I will be feeling cold and then I can have the cozy cowl. I know I want to do another one. But I want to do it in a yarn that's color shifting. Like, this one was color shifting, but here, I'll go get it. Let's digress. We've already started late today. Hold on, I have to show Kerniko my cowl. I'm proud. Hold on. You're a good girl. It's an infinity cowl, not because I wanted to do it, but because here it is, everybody. Isn't it pretty? This is it. So yeah, it's just a pretty yarn. It's a very pretty, here, I'll get close. Yeah, I did it in double, you can see the seed stitch. Double seed stitch, so 2 on, 2 off, and then repeated. Yeah, it's very turquoisey. It's actually more like my mom. It's greener than it looks on the camera. It's very much my mother's colors, which I think is funny because I've always teased my mom about her love of turquoise and teal that I didn't share. But yeah, so that I did a thing, guys. I did a thing. And I finished it. So my first project was Ugly Scarf, and Ugly Scarf had lots of issues. This one has, I think I forgot one row that I did it a little bit off. But with this pattern, it's so easy to correct. So, yeah, it is. So that's my thing. It's my first cowl. Now I want to do another one. Cowls are fun. And I always get cold. Like, I like to wear V-necks, but, in the winter, then when it gets very freezy, I'm just like, yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, the guilty feeling. And it's double bad in Ara when you, have, it's a book. It's out there. People want it, right? It's the first 2 books are out there. And so people are like, ooh, 3rd book. And you're just like, that's even worse. Because then the problem is I really want to be working on it. So it isn't like I'm guilting myself so much as I'm resenting my Patreon. And I love my Patreon, so that's really weird. It's like I have this relationship with 2 things, these 2 income streams. And right now I'm just like, Patreon, talk to the hand. I want to hang out with book. It's like that. It's like that. It's totally that. Yeah, I totally deserve. Oh, I've got some really pretty. I can't even. I'll go maybe one of these days. Maybe next stream or something. I'll get my bag. I've got a bag. I've got some very pretty stuff. I'm really liking the BFL, the black-faced Leicester. I don't know. But the BFL wool, I'm liking that. I was making a shawl, but I might have to put aside the shawl because it's much more of an early fall, late spring kind of shawl, and I'm feeling like I want to do another cowl for winter. So, oh, nice, Twisted Oma. Tuning in from work, hey lady. But yeah, So it's weird. It's more like I want to be. I'm in this relationship with my two income streams, and like I'm like just wanting to I'm enough you income stream, enough. I want to work on this income stream now. It's so silly. My brain is so weird. All right, so I did think maybe this is so hard on 28, guys. I mean, she deserves freckles. She totally looks like she should have them. But it's gonna be rough. I just don't know, because the faces on 28s are just so small. It's like 54, absolutely. 72 bus, absolutely. You can do freckles, but on these guys, when you try it, you can't. It's really hard to suggest the irregularity of pattern, and you can't really suggest different sizes, and the color that you use tends to be a bit subtle. So they end up more often than not just making the face look dirty, and I don't like that. So your cats try to eat it, yeah. Yes, right, Inara. Yes, exactly. I'm on autopilot with the dishes happily. Yeah, it's just too small to see, Pendrake. Exactly. Too small to see. So although I feel like she would have freckles, and I would, if she was a bigger model, I would totally, like if we were working on, and this is what I wish Reaper would do sometimes, I wish they would scale up and give us a 54 of some of these, because I don't think they'd need to do too much work to make this work in 54 millimeter. But give us some bigger models, those versions of some of these really good sculpts in the Bones USA, and do it that way. That would be cool. So let's, I think I want to grab some red. I want to red out the ribbon and add some red accents. I think I'm going to use my blood red. But yeah, there's a place in Canada that does just hand-dyed BFL wool, and I love it, and I love her color patterns that she dyes in. So I may have to splurge. Although I do have some nice wool for a cowl that's like a dark maroon, purpley maroon, which would be a good color also. It would be a good Christmas thing. But I don't know. I have to think about what I'm going to do next, because I like shawls and I like cowls. I want to do a sweater, but I'm just like that. Everybody wants to do a sweater, and then you fail utterly because you're a noob, you know, that kind of thing. So, plus it's a little late. Like if I started a sweater now, it wouldn't be done till summer. Yeah, I realize how small. I know, Quindy, right? Right, exactly, Fendrick. So Slayer, if you don't want to have to like do smooth stuff, yeah, if you look close at, okay, 28 millimeter texture is really, really fine. So you can see I'm using a crosswise stroke to suggest some. The best example of 28 millimeter texture, and I did this as a handout for my Patreon, I think, and also we did a whole series. So if you look back to Mr. Knoll, maybe Quindy could find the first episode of Knoll. You don't want to, well, actually all of Knoll was really interesting. This was a very useful model. So to a dice bag. Except I'm not playing anything with dice lately, Pendrake. So it would be, I want to do something I'm like going to use right away. So I have to think about it. I'm totally blorfed. But anyway, so the Knoll here, the whole purpose of painting this model was to show what kind of texture you could do on 28 millimeter. So he has cloth texture on his reds. He has fur texture on his arms. He has nicks and dents and other texture on his sword. He's got leather texture on his back. So if you want to kind of get a handle on how much texture like you can do at 28, like this guy has the maximum amount of texture you can do at 28. What really picks up is when you start doing textures on larger than 28 millimeter. then you have a lot of room to like go and dance around and do all sorts of amazing things. But there's Jolie. All right. Oh, great. Yeah, thanks, Goddess Tio. So there's the playlist for the knoll. So if you watch the knoll, first you're gonna see the difference starting between a dark and a light base with the feet, which I corrected later on. But we did we did a lot of info on this model. There was a lot of info on this model. So yeah, I would recommend if you want to do textures or learn how to do textures at 28. I've talked a crap ton about it all while I'm painting this guy. And we also did shaded metallics. So this knoll has everything. I haven't given him to Ron both because I really love him and because he really needs a better base before I give him to Ron. Some of these models just never got, like we didn't spend the time to give them a base. And so I really couldn't hand them off to the Hawkins without one. But yeah, textures really, you can do a fair amount of texture at 28, but you're going to be somewhat limited and it's going to be kind of clunky. Textures really take off when you get bigger, when you get to bigger models. That's when you can really do some cool stuff with them. That said, if you're currently only painting 28, it is a good way to practice and to get into the mindset of the fact that every surface is going to have a different texture and reflect light differently, and that's going to be picked up in the highlights. So it's a good time to start thinking about it. A little bit too much water. There. Just going to use my blood red because I want a solid mid red that's a little dark so I can highlight it. Oh, nice, Agent Marple. Sweet. You have plants. And then we'll do some gold. But I want to get some red. Now, putting a red on for this bookmark is going to take her hair a little less red, even though I did a glaze to make it a little bit more than normal. But I'm just going to put just a little bit. That's kind of why I want to start with a darker red. But I didn't want to start as dark as Asmodeus because so little of this bookmark is showing from the front of the model that if you want it to register as an accent, you need to make it a little brighter. So it's there. We've got it. Oh, yeah, Cornico, yeah. Yeah, because those heavy metal people, like, they can paint. Make no mistake. Like, GW makes them go super fast and super simple. But anybody who's on the heavy metal painting team for Games Workshop has some chops. Like, when they have the time, they can really knock it out of the park. I learned that a long time ago when a friend of mine was the head of the team. And, it's like what you see on the box covers is not, like, even close to how good those people can paint. So yeah, when they've got something simple like a troll where they have the day to paint it, then they can put some extra stuff. Yeah, just baby plants. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, painting texture is fun. It is. Like, and the great thing is that as long as you can suggest a little bit, like usually you're gonna look fine. It's gonna look fine. All right, so we're going to do a couple of red things back here. I'm going to make the feathers coming out of here dyed red, and I'm going to do the scroll case in red. And since we can also see the bookmark, that'll give us a couple of different instances of red, plus the red hair to pull the eye around the model. Tiny rigger brush. Everybody believes in the tiny rigger brush. But yeah, texture is fun. It's much easier to learn and to execute than smooth blends are. And in most cases, it's more suitable, right, for a surface. Although on 28 millimeter, again, everything kind of changes because at 28 millimeter, if you were really looking at someone far enough away to be this size, you really wouldn't see a lot of texture. So again, we're over-exaggerating just to add visual interest to our models. So it's not like either way is incorrect. And you should try to get both things in your toolbox, because there's going to be times when you want that smooth. You want to get that smoothness. But more often than not, doing a very subtle texture instead of going for smooth is going to be just fine, and it's going to look great on a 28. Oh, the legs off of Baba Yaga's hut. Oof. I've never tried that trick. I never knew it was a thing, but I'm not surprised, but no. I've never done it, Crowley. Interesting. I mean, it makes sense because the hut would be a great terrain piece without the legs. So David is ridiculous, by the way. Like, I haven't even opened my first video on how to 3D print or how to work our printer, and he is already downloading STLs. I'm like, you know how to work the dang thing, and you didn't download a bunch of STLs, but now I'm saying that I'll learn to work it, and you're downloading a bunch of STLs? I'm like, he owes me. He owes me. Like, I'm gonna ride this into some great dinners in Hawaii, guys. You want your pterodactyl rider printed? Okay. You're taking me to Miyamoto's then. Like that. Ah. He's speaking as one. You could say that because you are one, Kodiak. I'm just rolling my eyes, like, seriously. Rolling my eyes. He's the one who bought the printer. Like, I was like, you know, well, do we really need one? The thing is that David, if the printer would just magically print things for him, David would be all over it, but because it involves work and pain, and, you know, like, time, he would much rather be painting than printing, apparently. I don't know. I just want my dragon bust, dang it. Alright, so we're just carefully getting these little feathers. You can see how they come right up against the back of the other stuff. Haha, Crowley, fun. Yeah, Ed was a pro. Yeah, I only have the dragons. Although, once I learn to use the thing, I'll probably go over to Christine Van Patten's Moonlight Minis store or my mini factory and see if there's anything. Because I really like the stuff she had at her store, and I know that there's some exclusive stuff too out there. So I'll have to go looking around, but I don't know, that's kind of on my weekend list to do, is to watch a couple videos. Wonder of wonders, I did manage to get Amazon to deliver a 91% isopropyl alcohol product to my home in California, which is, technically I think is illegal. I don't know. California has rules. But it's an antiseptic. It's isopropyl as an antiseptic, so maybe that's okay. I have no idea. It's just nuts. Yeah, UK Etsy. Mm-hmm. No, I think they just want to use the hut as a terrain piece, Pendrake. Without the legs. Because it is a really good terrain piece. Yeah, one machine working with STLs, otherwise you end up with STLs everywhere. Yep, yep. Ah, storage, yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea, Kodiak. Oh, there are rules, Lord Zyphurius. There are rules. When David first, like, I went to Ace Hardware, and they're like, no, we can't carry it. Like, The state of California will not let Ace Hardware carry above like 70% ice purple, apparently. So, and when we first were looking around, we just could not find it. We cannot find it in any store in Mountain View or anywhere around here that David looked. So, but now I have some. So I feel like I have the workaround now. So. All right, so we've got our reds. Really two groupings of reds, but that's fine. Red is now our official accent color, and it's appearing in places. I'm trying to look over here and see if there's anywhere that can really pop it, but I'm just going to have to depend on the rosiness of her skin tones for the red over here, which is why we buffed the skin tones with the red in the first place, and they are still reading as pink, so that's perfect. Sometimes you just don't have a lot of places you can put your accent color, and that's okay. As long as it's a couple places, you're all right. I'll have more red on the back than on the front, but that's okay. Toxicity? I have no idea, Pendrick. Yeah. Kodiak, previously, it would not deliver to California. Like, when I was working on Amazon, like, a couple of months ago, when we first started doing this, when I was looking at it, it would be like, this product cannot be delivered to your zip code. So I was stunned that I got the medical supply one to come, but, it is what it is. California, that's one of the wonky things about California that I'm like, well, I would change this if I could. Like, there's lots of good things about California, and there's wonky things, but the same thing was true about Texas, right? So, like, there were some things I really miss about Texas, and then there are some things that, like, that were wonky things. Wherever you live, there's nothing is going to be, like, perfect, right? Yeah. Right, so I don't know what the difference is there, Pendrake. I was really happy to find out that you can kind of recycle it, though, with the 3D printing. Gotta finish my tea before it dies. All right. What is good about Kansas? Oh. Yeah, in some states, they're just, like, not going to have enough good things for you, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, every place is a little bit wonky. Yeah, my tea was just at the edge of, like, sliding off of warm, so I had to drink it. Alright, so let's see here. Let's do, let's shade and highlight that red. Let's do that. Where is one of my darker reds? What do I want to use? I think I want to use... I could use the shadow. I could use deep red. It's one of my faves. Or Urgathoa red. I think Urgathoa is in the other room, so let's use deep. We'll use deep red. This is one of my favorite reds to mix with skin tones to make shadows, or rosy shadows. Trash, you're so right. I would say Carry On My Wayward Son, though. That's funny, lady. Maryland's pretty okay. I lived in Maryland for a year. But yeah. I mean, it's just like everything in here is labeled that causes cancer. That's another California weirdness. It's just that California thing. Yeah, I know, right, lady? It's like... Although then you read Gregory Maguire's version of Oz and you're like, okay, I can see why she'd want to get out of there. But he writes a much darker and grittier version of Oz. See, and I haven't watched Supernatural, so I avoid those associations. I'm going to put just a little bit of black and brown into my deep red. I can get it to squeeze out. Hello, Pokey Tool, I need you. And I have to watch my neck because I don't want it to be all silly again. Yeah, that's probably true, Inara. It's probably environmental. They don't want people, like, doing crazy things with it. Yeah, McGuire's Oz is wild. I do enjoy his books, though. I haven't read all of them. I just read them selectively here and there when I'm in the mood. But it's definitely interesting. It's definitely an interesting version of Oz. For those who don't know, Gregory Maguire is the one who originally wrote Wicked. Ah, okay, that was a lot of black and brown. We will now have a lot of black and brown in our paint. So if you do this, if you accidentally blorf a bunch of a color that you do not want into your other paint, you can grab your brush, eek, and kind of scoop a bunch of it out of there. Like, sure, you might also pull out some of your initial red, but it's better than coloring your paint too much. So, hey, Darkfather. Slayer. Yeah, I read Son of a Witch. I actually liked it. Like, there were points where I was like, meh, where I felt it moved a little slow, but his world is interesting. This is her robe. Trash. So since it is her robe, I haven't decided whether I'm going to make it a darker cream. Because the interiors here, I'm kind of, well, here, up here I went blue. So I was kind of waiting to see what my gut said as far as what color this is going to be. Because I can go cream or I could go blue. And here, right now, it makes more sense to go cream. Because it's going to be, you know, it's already got blue here, so I can alternate. But I'll need to make it a lot darker of a cream. I'll need to make it this shadow color, except for, like, right down here when I bring it up. And it does put a lot of light at the bottom, but I think this is all interesting enough and tight enough that it won't matter too much, especially if I do this darker color. So that's what I'm thinking. Oh no! Oh no, Inara. Active cat. Active con followed by active cat. I'm so sorry. Alright, so let's get this shadow mixed up. So the nice thing about deep red is that it is a purpley kind of red. It's a little cooler. If you want a warm dark red that's roughly this same value, you'd reach for Asmodeus from the Pathfinder line. But I like the purple in this color. I've always liked this red triad. Alright, what do I want to use here? Yeah.